close to video.
People to tune into their intuition and ignite their spiritual gifts and abilities.
Okay, sounds good. Do you consider yourself like a witch or something like that? Do you label yourself that?
I'm
Or
sorry, can you repeat that?
do you label yourself a witch, a priestess, or something like that? What's your
Yeah,
title?
yeah. No, that's so I call myself a psychic empath and quantum energy healer. I am actually in priestess training right now, and I do identify as a witch. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. All right, so my name is Lamar Oyster. The podcast is called Uncover the Truth. The company name is called Wire Rope Media. I started this podcast because I wanted my own opinions out there instead of listening to everybody else's opinion. So this is why I started it. So far so good. So now we're just getting into Zoom interviews.
Yeah.
Jerome, you want to say something?
My name is Jerome. And I basically started this with my cousin because I feel like we are living in a world where they are trying to take our opinions away from us, and they want everybody to think alike. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So my first question, okay? So first question is, in your view, how can individuals tap into their imminent spiritual gifts and unleash their psychic powers?
Ooh. Yeah, before we can tap into any sort of psychic power or unlock potential, we really got to disconnect and unplug from all the noise and nonsense around us.
Okay.
I call it unplugging from the matrix. I think that's very much an accurate depiction of what's going on in the world. But a lot of people are experiencing things like anxiety, depression, chronic illness, burnout. They can't really hear themselves think, so they get all this clutter and confusion in their minds, creating a lot of dissonance or dis-ease in their lives. That'd be the first step, is really aligning ourselves with who are you at a soul level? What do you believe in? What do you stand for? And then all this other stuff that you're connecting and plugging into, like your parents and what they believe, your spouse and partner and what they believe, the TV, the news, the media, the social media, religion, school system, politics, all of that. If it's not in alignment with who you are at a soul level, we got to disconnect and unplug that, remove it from our field. This is the only way we're going to keep our channel clear so that we can really tune into our innate gifts and our innate wisdom.
Like getting rid of the bad energy around, basically.
Exactly. Yep. And so a lot of us are operating our auric fields, this sort of bubble around us, is just right here, meaning that we're allowing people to cross our boundaries and really take advantage of us. We want to be able to push that away and then disconnect and unplug from any energy or entities that is not in alignment with our greatest good.
All right. That's deep. You got any connected to past traumas or psychic well-beings?
Can you repeat that question?
It's
I'm just having a little bit of trouble hearing you.
Oh, it's okay. Let me see. In fact, I'm gonna go to a different question. The Akashic Records and your personal growths. How did you see the Akashic Record?
Oh, yes. So how I was trained and shown and how I see the Akashic Records is a sort of cosmic library. It's the history of everything that ever was, is, and will be. And when I tune into it, what it looks like for me and how it reveals itself to me, it's like a giant library, floor to ceiling, filled with books, and each person, each soul, each spirit has their own book of life. So when I go in, I'm very open-minded. I'm very open to whatever spirit has for me. And so I will say, okay, what would you like for me to know today? What would you like to share? In my book of life, or whoever's book that I'm reading will come to me, and then it'll start to flip through the pages and show to me scenes and images and themes that are coming through. And this will directly correlate or connect to things that are happening in their current life. So very often when we have recurring patterns of things that keep happening, the same situation and happen over and over and over, it could be connected to something from past lives, and that can be revealed to us through the Akashic Records.
I don't think you know what that is, but I've seen it before myself, and I was very high one time, And I went to sleep and I started dreaming. So I had an out-of-body experience. I see my body as I leave through the ceiling and everything. And I ended up at this place and it had no stairs. It just was levels, a circle of levels. And it was a tall being on one of the levels. I floated down to one of the levels and he gave me a book that said read. The book was in a whole nother language, but I was able to read the language. And so I read, and then I realized like what was going on. So I asked the being, "Are you an angel?" He said, "Yes." He shrunk down to my size, took me some more, and said, "Read." And I read some more, and now once I started realizing what was going on, I floated back into my body. And I always wanted to experience that again, never did.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Oh, it gave me chills. I can see the language that you're talking about. Yeah, light language. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was asleep one time and I don't know if I was double dreaming or what, but I was asleep and I seen some things floating around me and I tried to yell out. This is years ago when I was living with my moms and I tried to yell out for my moms. I couldn't talk, I couldn't move. And when it was finally over, I was just in a cold sweat and it's like that was scary and I never want that to happen again. Like this is so scary, but yeah.
What you're describing, not being able to move,
Yeah.
sleep, it's a form of sleep paralysis. When you first wake up, your body can't move for a little bit. Most people don't notice it because they are able to move right away. But with people who are highly sensitive, are highly empathic, this sensation of not being able to move can last several minutes. And so it's this time where you're just sort of frozen. Because when you're asleep, your soul is traveling, your soul needs time to come back to the body.
But when that happens, sometimes it's never figured inside the dream with you. Like somebody maybe it's in the doorway, maybe they're on your chest, or maybe it's next to you. Like what is that? Is those demons, succubus, or something like that?
You're talking about other energies and entities that come in while
Yeah,
you're
like
sleeping?
no, because usually people have when people have sleep paralysis, usually they say somebody sitting on their chest. You know. So I'm saying, do you think this is succubus or demons or something like that on their chest or in the room with them? Cause I personally had sleep paralysis and I seen other figures in the room with me. Like shadows and stuff like that.
That hasn't been my experience when I tune in. It's just that my soul needs time to come back to my body. But I have talked to people that experience exactly what you're describing, where it feels like someone's sitting on their chest, and they've described it as being a sort of incubus or succubus. I totally believe that that's possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. How do past traumas impact our psychic and spiritual well-being, and what roles does healing play in this process?
Yeah. So for many of us that feel like we are psychics, we are healers, we are mystics, we are witches, it's because we have some experience of this in a past life. And also in our ancestral line, we may have a history of healers and psychics and witches. But historically, these groups of people have not been allowed to fully express their gifts and their powers because, like we touched on before we hopped on the recording, a lot of what's going on in today's society, even hundreds of years ago, has been about control. And so people tend to fear what they don't understand. And this idea of personal power threatens societal structures because it means that they can't control us. So anyone that's a healer, a psychic, a mystic, a witch, anything like that, that's outside of the norm, that's outside of the realm that they can reasonably control, it's going to get demonized, it's going to get ostracized. So that's even still people today in the here and now have a huge problem with stepping into their gifts and fully developing their powers, is because they think that something bad is going to happen to them because they're still holding that trauma from lifetimes ago. So there needs to be some sort of karmic release of letting go of what I call the witch wound, of letting go of that fear of being persecuted in order to be able to step into our power and speak our truth.
Okay. Do you have a grimoire?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Do you have a grimoire?
I have a digital one. I like to be able to control F and search flip through the pages.
Did you make it yourself or did you buy one?
I made mine. I made a digital one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
any of the spells come true? Like instantly?
Instantly, I've had some interesting things happen. So I do moon rituals. So I was doing a full moon ritual, and I was really feeling $2,500 coming in. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this moon ritual. I'm gonna call in $2,500. The next day, I got a letter in the mail from my mortgage company that said I had overpaid on my escrow by $2,500, and they were gonna be sending
That's
me a check.
crazy.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Manifesting is real. I has manifest money before. His brother used to see me do it a lot. And like one time I was going to buy something. It's like I think it was like $300. I had $280. So I needed $20 more. So I'm like, I'm not going to my pocket and my wallet to get this money. I said, I'm gonna walk and I'm gonna find $20 on the floor somewhere. He said, no, you're not. I took about 3 steps, and it was right there on the floor. I picked it up. He said, I don't know how you do that. You keep doing that. I don't know how you do that. I said, it's power. You manifest it. You know, if you believe it, it's gonna come true.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to play games with the universe. So you were talking about grimoires and spells. It can be something like that. To me, doing a sort of ritual is just a tangible way of expressing your intention and your desire, but you can also just literally speak to the universe, just how you did. So I was playing a game, I was washing the dishes one day, and I'm like, okay, spirit, I am open to receiving an extra $800 today. Send me an extra $800. A minute later, I check my email. Somebody signs up for one of my courses and programs, $800. I'm like, all right, I see you.
Wow.
All right. So then
Wow.
the next day, I'm like, okay, $800 in the bank. I love it. Okay. Today, send me an extra $2,500, right? And like stepping it up, challenging the universe a little bit. And then within the next 10 minutes, I get a phone call from it was actually from PayPal. They're like, hey, we see you're making good money in your business. We'd like to offer you a loan of $2,500 and there's no interest. I'm like, great, okay, I'll take it. Great.
No
So,
interest?
mhm,
That's crazy.
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
How do you feel about TV shows that portray spells and stuff? Like, for example, what was it called? Originals, Vampire Diaries, Originals. They was taking different languages to make these spells. So they mixed Spanish with Haitian, with French, and
Yeah.
they had to figure out the spells. And they got a phone call from a practicing witch that said they playing with fire. Like, you don't know what you're saying. Like, you messing with spirits that you wouldn't be messing with. And they thought it was funny. But what do you think about it?
Okay. So I haven't seen those particular shows. My experience with witches in TV goes back to like Sabrina the Teenage Witch in the 90s. So that's kind of what I grew up on.
Disney Channel.
I was like, I got the good witch, right? So here's the thing. If that person is understanding of like the dark arts and that's what they're tuning into, tapping into, then they would know that, what's kosher, what's not. I only ever work with the light, so I'm never gonna like say or do anything that's gonna call in that type of energy. But on the other hand, the way that I view something like that is that it's entertainment.
Yeah.
It's just for fun. It's just made up.
Yeah.
It's kind of like something like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's
I
it's a
was
very fantastical representation of what actual magic is.
yeah. I used to watch Charm growing up, and
Mhm.
I don't really watch it no more just because I'm just not into TV like that really. But
Yeah, me either.
yeah. But Charm was one of my shows growing up, and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Yeah. But I
All right. What do you think about star codes and stuff like that?
I love star codes. Yes. Yes. So I actually I didn't realize that I was doing this. So for me, light language is the channel or the language of the angels. It can come through spoken, sung, signed, drawn. I had been drawing it since I was little.
No
I had
kidding.
been signing it since I was little. I just didn't realize what it was. But I had shut down my psychic abilities for so many years. So I first discovered my psychic gifts when I was 9, but I came from a very conservative religious household. And so I kept it to myself. But meanwhile, I'm doing all this sort of witchy healing stuff on the back end, not really knowing what I'm doing. And then I got to be in my later 20s and reactivated my psychic gifts. I went to this retreat and this woman was doing light language on one of the ladies. And I'm like, oh, do me, like just thinking it's just, makeup. make believe, right? And she just goes, "Oh, you're psychic." And I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, like how did you know?" I never tell anybody that, like what the heck? And so she helped me with the light language, unleash it. But I still had this sort of like mentality of, "Oh, this syllable means this and this signal means that and this symbol means that." But it's not so linear or logical in that way. We just trust that whatever's coming through is doing whatever it needs to do in that person's field. Now, the star codes I love because the codes that can come through, spirit will say, hey, this symbol actually means prosperity, or this sequence of numbers actually means health, or this letter sequence actually means this. So I feel like there's a little more direction than say just channeling the light language. It's just going into that person's field or going into your field and shifting whatever energies. I actually call it like reprogramming or recalibrating the computer. It's like I can see the matrix around us, and as I start playing with light language or even computing different star codes and sequences that are coming through, I feel like it reprograms that person's energy.
Okay. So like I don't really understand star codes, but I know it got something to do with the soul's purpose. So how star codes and the soul's purpose interact or go together?
Yeah, what I see happening is people that start seeing particular number sequences or particular letter sequences or particular symbols repeating, it's activating within them their unique starseed abilities, their remembrance that, hey, actually, I felt like I've never belonged here because I'm not actually from here. So like in order for this to make sense, one would have to believe that we're not actually from this planet, that we're descended from star seeds, that we were sent here in a human form for a divine mission, divine purpose. And those particular signals or star codes that are being activated are to help that person to remember, hey, this is actually why I'm here.
Do you ever feel like you could see the future?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was feeling that since 9 years old. Did I share how I first discovered my psychic abilities?
No.
I was gonna
Okay.
ask
Oh
you
no,
that.
this is a funny story. So I can look back and I can see that I've had this ability my whole life, but I first became aware of it when I was 9 years old. I was walking out of school to get picked up. I was walking under this tree, and out of nowhere, I had this random thought: a bird is going to poop on me right now. And it really did. It landed right here on my arm, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is so gross, and oh my gosh, I can't believe I predicted this. So I go to the bathroom and wash it off. I get in the car and I just keep it to myself because again, I grew up in a conservative religious home. But I would start to get these predictive dreams and premonitions. And at first it started out pretty small. Like one night I had a dream that my friend walked into the janitor's closet and the broom fell over on her. The next day, she's like, oh, I'm going to go mess around in the janitor's closet. I'm thinking, don't go in there. Don't go in there. She doesn't understand why I'm telling her that. She thinks I'm just, we're going to get in trouble. She goes in there, the broom falls over on her. So I start to see those sorts of things coming true. As I got older, the visions became more intense. Like I remember sitting at a stoplight. I was in university, and I thought there's going to be a car accident at the intersection right now. And sure enough, a couple seconds later, wham, like right in front of me, big old car accident, and I had to go around it. And then what was happening was I would get these visions, like my husband's about to go out in the rain, and I'm thinking, don't go in the rain because you're going to total the car. And he goes out in the rain, doesn't listen to me, goes out in the car, totals the car, right? So people don't understand like to what degree these are like very real visions, because they think that you're just this anxious person that's worried about everything happening that's going to go wrong, but they don't understand like this is a very real vision. Like it's very clear, if you do this, then this is going to happen.
Like I have a lot of like deja vu moments where I could be doing something. It's like, why do I feel like this happened before? Like, or I guess maybe I overthink, and a lot of the time situations happen. I'm like, I feel like this happened already, but
yeah. Because we in this human form experience time linearly, right? But in the quantum field, in the astral plane, time is actually like all things all the time, all at once. Everything, past, present, future, it's all at the same time. So I think of it like not so much like a movie is very linear, right? There's a beginning, there's a middle, the end. In the realm of possibilities, it's sort of like a cloud. It's all existing everywhere all at once. That's why this you can be in multiple planes, multiple dimensions at the same time, which is why you may sometimes in this human form feel like, oh, I've already done this before.
Yes, and it's what you do that make it change. So if you say you crossing the street, instead of crossing the middle of the street, if you cross in the middle of the road, something different may happen if you cross at the corner of the road, if that makes sense. Yeah. I noticed your crystal hanging.
Yeah.
I know you probably deal with crystals, but do you like leave on the sun and stuff like that? Do you talk with them?
So this particular crystal, it's called a magician stone. It's made out of clear quartz. This was recommended to me very early in my psychic development journey. I was working for someone, she was a law of attraction coach, and she was also an oracle, and recommended it to me because I didn't know how to filter out people's energies. I just was taking on everyone's energy. It was making me very anxious. And this particular cut and the material helps to filter out people's energies, so I can sense like, oh, this is coming and this is not mine, and I would just push it back out. Now it's gotten to the point I can do that on my own. I don't need the necklace. I just wear it because it's pretty.
Okay.
But I get a sense of certain crystals really resonate with me, and this would be the case with anyone who's drawn to crystals. You're not going to like feel a vibe with every single crystal on the planet, but as you start connecting with certain types of crystals, certain cuts, certain colors, certain materials, you start to get a sense of, oh, I'm really drawn to say purple or amethyst because that's really one for sleep, for dreams, for prediction, premonition, psychic abilities. So I'm drawn to that. I'm also drawn to a lot of black, like black tourmaline, because it has a lot of protective qualities too. So you start to get a sense of, oh, I'm drawn to this. And as you start to study, you start to understand, oh, I like this because I need that extra protection as a psychic. I want to protect my energy field.
Yeah. What do you think about the evil eye and what is called the hand of Fatima? That's what it's
I'm
called.
sorry, what can you repeat that?
The all-seeing eye. Oh no, the evil eye, and the hand of Fatima. That's what it's called. The hand is like this. It's called Fatima.
Oh, yeah. No, I hadn't heard it called the Fatima, but I know what you're talking about, the evil eye. So it's funny, when I was growing up, and remember, I come from a conservative religion, so that sort of symbol was like, I was told that was evil. So I grew up thinking that was evil. And then I got to be, this was actually within the past few years, I was pregnant with my first child. And there was a lady that came in, she was a guest speaker in one of the groups I was in, and she was talking about the evil eye. That actually the symbol itself is not evil. The symbol is meant to ward off evil. So it's meant to be a symbol of, especially, so how I was learning about it, she was talking about this idea of putting a red thread with the little evil eye on a baby, because people have jealous energy. Babies are innocent. They will absorb the jealous energy, and then it'll affect their energy throughout life. So you put the evil eye on the red thread, red to ward off evil, the evil eye to ward off evil, because the little evil eye will actually absorb that jealous energy on their behalf so that the baby doesn't absorb it. So I thought that was fascinating, started looking into that, and actually got my daughter her little evil eye bracelet. And the idea of that is that once the bracelet falls off or gets lost, it means that child no longer needs it. So my daughter had hers for like 2-3 months. Then we moved here. So we lived in Denver at the time. Then we moved to Houston. And it was like the day after we moved here, her bracelet fell off. And I found that fascinating because we moved here to be close to family. We were staying at his parents' house, and the bracelet fell off. So I took it as a sign she didn't need any external protection anymore. And then with my son, I had his little bracelet on. His fell off when we came home from the hospital. So he only had his like 2 days.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
The other one is called Hamas. It's the hand with the eye in it symbol, and I guess one cancels out the other.
Yeah.
I will do more research on that.
Yeah, I'll look into that because I'm not as familiar with the hand one. I just know the little evil eye on the bracelet was what I looked into.
How do you address people that are skeptical or misconceptions or have misconceptions?
Oh, yeah. I try and approach it with a lot of love and grace and compassion, that they're on their journey speaking their truth, just as I'm on my journey speaking my truth, because I get that a lot, even in like my personal life with my family. They don't understand a lot of the time, they don't agree. And so we just have to really come from this place of like unconditional love, regardless of our individual unique beliefs. And there is some backlash, right? So I'm a person who's very open to a lot of ideas and concepts and faith systems. And we do still like go to a regular church. So here in Houston, a lot of the communities here are Baptist. We go to a Baptist church, and people within the community will say, look at my profile, my Facebook or social media or whatever, and see what I do. And they have, misconceptions or beliefs about it. And will talk to me about it and approach me. And in their belief system, the Bible is the only source of truth. And for me, it's like it's a source of truth, but also there's lots of other truth out there that we're not exposing ourselves to, because we're essentially limiting this idea of God and source and what it can do. And so my concept of the divine is much bigger, much broader than the human trying to say, okay, this is the only way that things can be done.
Yeah, I feel people only get into stuff where other people share the same interests as them, that they love or they care about. Like, for example, for years I've been trying to get my mother to read the other gospels, Book of Enoch, Book of Giants, Book of Adam and Eve, Book of Mary Magdalene. She refused. She refused. Not my Bible, this and that. My cousin, who'd been in the church for years, started reading them. Now she's so into it now. All this morning, all she did was talk to me about the Book of Adam. Other than that, he committed suicide, this and that. I said, yeah, I know all this. I said, I've been trying to get y'all to read this for a long time. But it took my cousin, who's in the church, to ask her to read the stuff too. It's for her to actually get into it. But because I'm a heathen, she didn't want to listen to it.
That's funny.
It's like I had a heart-to-heart with my mom about all my psychic ability. She's very sensitive, highly empathic too, but she's taken the more religious approach. And she's like, witchcraft. I said, do you think herbs is witchcraft? She's like, yeah. I said that I'm doing witchcraft.
Oh wow. I wanted to ask you that, like, how's your relationship with your parents?
Oh yeah. So my relationship with my mom is taking some very beautiful, interesting deep dives and turns, because she's actually living with us right now. So yeah, my stepfather, bless his soul, he passed away last November, so almost a year ago. And this past August, my mom sold her home and is now living here with us in Houston while she gets settled, finds a job, finds her own home. So she's been with us since August. And so I've been feeling the call as part of my healing journey was to just completely bring everything to the surface and be like, Mom, this has been my experience since I was 9 years old. The gift of prophecy is in the Bible. The Holy Spirit still very much is alive today. This idea of energies and entities is very real. There are evil spirits out there. Yes, I'm divinely protected. No, I'm not calling in demons. No, I do not worship the devil. And like, this is what I do. I'm called to be a healer in this world. And all these like calls that you see me take during the day, because she's home, she sees what I do. I said, I'm helping people heal. Yeah. This is what I do. I'm being called to be this vessel, this channel to help people move forward in their lives. And she's like, she listened. It was beautiful. She listened, she heard it all. And at the very end, she says, I don't ever want you to go back to that box that I put you in. She says, if you believe that you're doing what you're called to do on this planet, like you keep doing you. Yeah. She's like, I can think it's a witch thing, and that's fine. That's my opinion. That's maybe my fear. She says, but you keep doing what you're being called to do.
Yeah, that's good. Parents should support their kids no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Let me see.
But that's not everyone's situation, and I recognize that, right? Like, I'm very blessed in that way that was my experience, because not everyone has that. But I think we have to take a real hard look at ourselves and ask ourselves the question, do we want to be loved and accepted for who we are or who we're not? Because I was ready to come clean and come out of the broom closet and say, this is who I am, this is what I'm being called to do. And I would rather not have someone in my life that doesn't want me there than to have someone and then keep playing a game or having a role that's actually not me.
Yeah. But I look at it when technically, when people pray for you, aren't they doing the same thing?
Yeah. Yeah. So he had asked that question earlier. So for me, prayer and meditation are two sides of the same coin. Prayer is the asking, meditation is the receiving. So often we pray and pray and pray and pray. We feel like we're not hearing God or not getting an answer. It's because you won't shut up. You actually need to like go quiet and turn inward to receive the answer. And for me, magic and miracles are the same thing. It's shifting something, alchemizing something, and turning it into some new tangible form. And manifestation is answer to prayer. So where we start to get into the nitty gritty, where we start to disagree on things is, do we believe that the power is out there outside of you?
Yeah.
Like some energy or entity, like this big G God outside of you? Or do you believe that that power is flowing through you and moving through you? Do you believe the power is within you? This is where my mom and I disagree.
Because it sounds like they just take words and just give it different meanings. Like when you said magic and
Magic and miracles, yeah.
yeah, magic and miracles, it's like, okay, no, those are blessings. Like it's
Yeah.
like, okay, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I grew up being told not to believe in luck. Like no, it's blessings. Okay, it's all the same thing to me.
Yeah.
I just feel like people interpret it differently.
Yes. Where words, the definition of words do change, but not the etymology of words. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: what role does quantum energy healing plays in transforming lives from the state of brokenness to unbreakable? Unbreakable.
Oh, I love that you said from broken to unbreakable, because I'm actually participating in a summit right now. That's the title of the summit, From Broken to Unbreakable. Quantum energy healing. If you can imagine, right, the cells, every cell in your body, cells are made of mostly water. Water holds memory. You can talk to water, set intentions in water, and it'll actually change the structure of water if you look at it under a microscope. So every cell in your body is holding on to something, energy, toxins, emotions. And so when we get into quantum energy healing, we're actually going into the cells, the systems, the structures within the body. We're also treating and aligning the chakra system, which is the energy points along the main meridian from the top of the head to the base of the spine. And we're going into all layers of self. So mind, body, soul, emotions, and then of course your auric field all the way around you. When you start working with these energies, you get to take a look at, where are you now? Where would you like to be? What's the slow moving energy or resistance, why that's not already your reality right now? And then let's trace that back to some sort of root cause, most likely in childhood, but it could also be something from a past life or in your ancestral line. And then we can work in aligning and shifting and clearing your energy. When I do sessions, I actually like to empower the person to start feeling and seeing and experience it for themselves. So say we're addressing like the mother wound, right? Someone doesn't have a good relationship with their mother. They felt like their mother didn't understand them, that they had a lot of anxiety and depression regarding their mother. It's like, okay, where do you feel that anxiety in your body? We start to give it a name and a color and a texture. And right now, as I'm talking about it, as I'm feeling into the collective, it's like a sort of density or a darkness here in the stomach and the solar plexus. And so, okay, if you can imagine actually pulling that out of your system and then using white healing light to flush that and clear that out. Now we have this big ball of dark matter in our hand. What would you like to do with it? We can alchemize it, bring in the elements. I personally like to burn stuff. So I will imagine putting it on the fire and burning it. There's some rituals and things we can do to bring that into tangible form if we want to do that. But you can put it, bury it in the deep earth, throw it up to the sky, wash it away with water. When we start to use these energetics to actually release whatever energetic bonds we have to that, any mindset shifts that need to happen there, so that moving forward, we get to rewrite that story. And when we clear the past, we then open up possibilities for the future.
Yeah.
Okay, we reaching that 3-minute mark. Would you like to continue if the cut off? You got another interview to do or something?
No, I'm okay. I think that's just for you. If you have a free account, then it's going to cut you off.
Yeah, so cut me off in 3 minutes, and we turn it. I'll rejoin. Okay.
Okay, sure.
All
Yeah.
right. So my next question for cuts off is, Can you share a success story where someone experienced a profound transformation through your guidance and coaching?
Oh yeah. I actually have two stories if we have time. One story, they both happened at a retreat. I was at an in-person retreat. I was doing an energy healing session on someone, and she had a lot of abuse and trauma that was coming through. And as we were shifting and clearing this, the dark spirits, for lack of a better word, the demons that came through were the spirits of the people who had hurt her. They came up from behind me and tried to grab her and pull her spirit back to the underworld. And I was like, no, you cannot have her. And I put these spirits, me and this other girl put these spirits in a crystal. This crystal had such dark energy, we could not even have it in the house. We threw it over the balcony and then threw it in the ocean. And then since then, her life has radically transformed. So all of these latent gifts and abilities that she had fully came back online. She's very empathic. She's actually a gifted medium. So she's able to not just talk to ghosts, but actually channel them using her body, and has been able to step away from some relationships that were no longer in alignment with her. She's able to start her own spiritual coaching business, and now is making radical moves and changes. And this was only back in June. So in the past few months, her life has radically shifted and transformed. And then the other one, we had a gal that just felt like she didn't quite belong anywhere. She always felt like something was a little bit off. And when we did her healing session, her galactic team actually came in. So her starseed family came in. She's from the Arcturian starseed system. They like landed on their spaceships on the balcony. They came into the room and said, actually, this is not your home, but it's not time to come home yet. And just the relief that she felt and the understanding that she experienced was really, really much needed for her, because she had spent her whole life feeling out of place, and now she knew why, and she knew that her work here wasn't done yet.
Okay, that's wow. That's a very great story. So is it possible for people to feel demons? If they do feel demons, like how do they know if like a demon is attached to them?
When I felt evil or dark energy coming in, it feels like something coming up from behind me on my shoulders. So as you're tuning in, if anything feels off and it feels like it's coming from outside of you and it's not moving you toward the light, this is an indication that there's an energy or entity there.
Okay. So like, if your hair stand up?
What's that?
Like if your hair stand up?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna send you another link so you can join again.
Okay.
All right. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, bye.
You got any questions you thought of, cousin?
No.